Hello everyone, today we are going to see the movie called What's Eating Gilbert Grape, an emotional drama movie released in 1993. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with Gilbert Grape and his mentally disabled brother Arnie Grape waiting on the side of the road. Arnie shouts excitedly on seeing the arrival of the carnival group along the highway. The scene cuts from there and we go back in time to meet the Grape family. Gilbert introduces himself and the rest of his family. His little brother Arnie is not a normal kid and loves climbing on top of things. His big sister Annie takes care of the cooking and other chores at the house. Little sister Ellen is not happy about their family and she doesn't like Gilbert much. Their family also includes their mother Bonnie, who sadly does not look like anything she was 17 years ago ever since her husband passed. Bonnie has become shockingly obese and lives off their couch eating and watching TV. Because of this, the children live for themselves and take care of everything. Gilbert works at the department store in town and takes Arnie with him along with Ellen, who works at the ice cream parlor. They leave for work as usual, but on their way, Gilbert notices a caravan on the side of the road and a beautiful girl standing there in front of it. We will see her later, and as Gilbert reaches the store, Ellen immediately leaves for her work. Arnie watches as Gilbert works at the store, and this is how their normal day goes. That day, the store owner asks Gilbert to take care of the deliveries to their regular customer, and Gilbert takes Arnie along with him to deliver the items. A woman named Becky is the customer and she invites Gilbert inside as her kids run out to play. Gilbert asks Arnie to wait outside in the car and goes in. Here we discover that the woman is having an affair with Gilbert as they are making out and feeding each other ice cream. Becky orders delivery to spend time with Gilbert. However, her husband returns home early and plays with his kids. Hearing his voice, Gilbert and Becky stop what they are doing and he walks out. Gilbert greets the husband as he leaves, but the man appreciates Gilbert for helping out with the deliveries and even tips him some cash. Gilbert takes it and gets hesitant when he hears the husband inviting to meet with him, since he has something to discuss. Only after Gilbert returns to the car that he notices that Arnie is gone. Right then he notices a police car driving by and people shouting at a distance. He notices Arnie climbing atop the water tower and immediately heads there. Since Arnie loves climbing trees, he thought of the water tower as a huge tree and climbed up. The policeman uses the megaphone to order Arnie to come down. Seeing Arnie continue to climb up, Gilbert speaks with the police and takes the megaphone. He starts singing Arnie's favorite song and Arnie sings along and finally comes down. The policeman gets frustrated since Arnie often climbs up the water tower and tells Gilbert to stop him from doing this again. Gilbert explains his brother's condition and promises to take care of Arnie. The pretty girl from before takes notice of Gilbert at this time. Sometime later, Gilbert returns home with some of the items he got from his workplace. After this, he carries Arnie to the bathroom and monitors him while he takes a bath. Then Gilbert takes Arnie to bed as per their normal routine. The next day, Gilbert has breakfast with his two friends. He catches the girl he saw near the caravan walking by and feels how pretty she is. Sometime later, while Gilbert is working, the girl enters the store. He notices her but doesn't approach her. After the girl checks out, the store owner calls for Gilbert and tells him to drive the girl to her place since she bought a lot. Gilbert happily agrees and takes Arnie along as they load her bicycle onto his truck. As Gilbert starts driving, Arnie starts talking with her and shows her his grasshoppers. They learn that her name is Becky and Arnie tells her that his 18th birthday is coming up next week, but she is not invited to the party since he doesn't like her. Gilbert gets angry hearing this and tells Arnie to apologize for being rude to Becky, but she says it is alright since she understands that Arnie is different, which makes Gilbert get a good impression of her. Soon they reach her caravan and find that she is living with her mother. Becky says that they will be here for a while since their caravan broke down. In the next scene, the Grape family is having breakfast. And since Bonnie is obese, they fear that their cabin floor might break soon and call Gilbert's friend, who is a carpenter, for the work. At this time, Amy goes to check on him but gets scared as the floor starts creaking owing to Bonnie walking above them. Gilbert hands over the wood to his friend from the outside. His friend asks Gilbert to come down and help him a little. But Gilbert asks Arnie, who is sitting on a tree, to go help his friend. Arnie straight up laughs and refuses to leave his spot on the tree. The friend cannot take it anymore watching these brothers go back and forth instead of offering to help him. However, Arnie brings up their late father, and because of that, Gilbert cannot leave him alone. Hearing this, the friend feels bad and apologizes to Gilbert. However, Gilbert doesn't like how Arnie brought up their father and apologizes to his friend. The next day, while Gilbert and his friends are having breakfast, Betty and her family were also at the diner. While they leave, Betty gives Gilbert a look since it's been a few days after their last encounter. Gilbert stays silent. However, her husband comes and reminds Gilbert how he wanted to speak with him and tells him to meet him soon. Since Gilbert and Ellen work nearby, she takes his place in taking care of Arnie when Gilbert meets his friends. She did so that day as well, but when Gilbert came out of the diner, he noticed Ellen pulling Arnie's leg to stop him from climbing the tower again. Since he doesn't seem to give up, she pulls him down and starts beating him. Seeing this, Gilbert comes to stop her and blames her for beating her brother. However, Ellen talks back, stating that this is the only way to make Arnie stop climbing the tower. Seeing Arnie injured, Gilbert takes him to the store to give him first aid and reach home with the groceries from the store. Arnie tends to have a taste of whatever he finds interest in, and Amy is troubled always because of this. Gilbert leaves immediately, and we find him heading towards Becky's cabin. He finds her hanging her clothes but doesn't go talk to her, and instead stands behind a bush to watch her. However, Betty's husband drives by at the time, and he calls out to Gilbert to come talk to him soon. Hearing the commotion, Becky turns around to find Gilbert there and calls him to come forward. He goes, and her mother offers him some watermelon. After Gilbert takes a bite, Becky takes him for a walk. Gilbert offers her a ride to town, and they reach the ice cream parlor Ellen works. Gilbert introduces Becky to Ellen, and they enjoy an ice cream cone. However, this is seen by Betty, who drove to town with her kids, and she feels jealous seeing Gilbert with a girl. Gilbert then takes Becky to the field where they have a good time talking. But suddenly Gilbert remembers something, so he tells Becky to wait there and run somewhere. We find that Gilbert has returned home to give Arnie his bath. Since Becky is waiting, he instructs Arnie to get out of the tub and dry himself using the towel and go to bed. Gilbert leaves Arnie there and spends time with Becky till night. Gilbert returns home and is shocked to find Arnie still in the bathtub shivering because of the cold water. He immediately rushes to get him out and dries him with a towel, profusely apologizing for leaving him there. The next day, as usual, Gilbert is at work and the owner informs him to deliver the items to Betty. Seeing Gilbert's car, Betty tells her kids to go play outside. Gilbert heads inside with the bags and Betty tells him to sit down for eating. But Gilbert refuses, telling her that they should stop doing this from now on. Even though Betty begs him to stay, Gilbert leaves her house. That evening, when Gilbert and Arnie are returning home, he notices a police car outside Betty's place. He stops outside, and his friend who was there comes to tell Gilbert that Betty's husband passed away. The police are here because they found him in the kids' pool. Gilbert finds it shocking that something like this could happen and feels bad for Betty. In the morning, Gilbert is with his friends, who reveal that the police found that Betty's husband had a heart attack when he was playing with his kids and fell in the pool. That is the cause of his demise, but Gilbert finds it hard to believe, and he even thinks that Betty might have harmed her husband because he refused to be with her. After this, Gilbert and Arnie go to meet Becky, and Gilbert finds that they still haven't fixed their caravan. Becky invites them to have a swim in the lake. Arnie climbs up the tree, saying that he only bathes before bed. But Gilbert happily agrees to join her. Arnie laughs seeing Becky and Gilbert play in the water. Sometime later, they come out of the lake and lie down. Becky tells how amazing it feels in this quiet environment. And only then they realize that Arnie is missing. Gilbert takes his car and finds Arnie climbing the water tower. The firefighters use a crane to bring him down. Gilbert pleads with the police to let Arnie go like always, but the police tell him that they had enough and inform Gilbert to bring his mom, as they take Arnie into custody. Gilbert returns home and explains the whole situation to his family. Bonnie is worried since she hasn't left the house for years. So Gilbert calls people he knows to help get Arnie out, but no one agrees. Seeing this, Bonnie finally decides to head out to get her son. The car leans one side owing to her weight. Bonnie gets out and goes to the police station. The police are reluctant to let Arnie go since he never stops climbing the tower. Hearing this, Bonnie gets frustrated and shouts at them for treating Arnie this way given his condition. The police are scared by her reaction and decide to let Arnie go. As they walk out of the police station, Bonnie notices that several people have gathered outside. The kids laugh at her and a man even takes a picture of her. The family returns to the car feeling bad to see how the people ridicule their mother. Bonnie remains silent on their way home and refuses to eat dinner. In the morning, Gilbert goes to meet Becky and they embrace a kiss. Becky is glad that Arnie is okay and asks Gilbert if she could meet his mom. Gilbert tells her that given how the people treated her yesterday, Bonnie refuses to meet any outside people now and asks her to wait until Arnie's birthday. In the next scene, we see the Grape family and friends attending the funeral of Betty's husband. After the ceremony, Betty meets Gilbert to inform that she is leaving the town with her kids. Gilbert goes to meet Becky and embraces her in the rain. The next day, the Grape family is preparing for Arnie's birthday. Amy is baking the cake, while Gilbert struggles to get hold of Arnie to give him a bath. As Arnie runs around the house, he bumps into Amy and she drops the cake. Amy cries as everything is ruined, and seeing this, Gilbert decides to go buy a cake from the big store. He returns home with the cake and tells Arnie to not touch it since it is for his birthday tomorrow. However, Arnie ruins the cake by poking his fingers in it to have a taste. Seeing this, Gilbert gets angry and grabs him to give him a bath, but Arnie refuses and continues to play. Gilbert gets angry and beats Arnie for the first time in his life. Feeling bad for what he had done, Gilbert leaves the house in the car. And Arnie leaves the house running and heads to Becky's place. She treats Arnie's wounds and tells him to go back home. Gilbert also goes to Becky's place and she questions him for beating Arnie. Gilbert apologizes and tells her about his family's situation. Later they kiss and spend the night sleeping under the stars together. Gilbert returns home the next day as it's Arnie's birthday. He looks for Arnie and apologizes for beating him. The brothers embrace and reconcile as Bonnie watches them through the window. Gilbert then enters the home to speak with Bonnie, who's embarrassed to go outside. Even though it is her son's birthday, she calls her a burden and blames herself that she has brought only shame and humiliation upon the family. Bonnie cries and grabs Gilbert in her arms, pleading with him to take care of Arnie. Gilbert then hears Becky's caravan arriving and he brings her to meet Bonnie. Even though Bonnie was hesitant, she liked Becky. Soon Becky had to leave and she kissed Gilbert bidding goodbye. She bid farewell to Arnie as well, since she and her mother are leaving town that day. After they leave, Amy informs Gilbert that she got a job outside of town and she plans to take Ellen with her as well. Gilbert feels happy for her and tells her not to worry and he will take care of Arnie. As they return home after the party, they are shocked to find Bonnie climbing the stairs to enter her bedroom after so many years. Ellen and Amy go to help her get on the bed. Sometime later, Arnie comes to wake her up, but he finds that Bonnie is not waking up. He runs outside crying. Amy and Gilbert ask him what's wrong. The family finds that Bonnie has passed away. Sometime later, when the police show up, they inform Gilbert that a crane is required to take Bonnie out of the house. After they leave, Gilbert shares this with his sisters. Ellen cries, saying that there will be a crowd and they will ridicule Bonnie. Gilbert's angry with himself and takes it out in the basement. He doesn't want his mother to be humiliated. He comes back to find his sisters and tells them his plan. The siblings empty the house and carry all the furniture outside. They are done in the morning and meeting his sisters, Gilbert takes a match and sets the house on fire. The siblings watch as their mother is cremated in her own house she never wanted to leave. A year later, we return to the scene from the beginning of the movie. Gilbert tells us that Amy and Ellen have left town as they planned and Arnie and Gilbert watch the caravans. They find Becky returning and the brothers join the mom and daughter to travel with them. And that's how the movie ends. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to the channel if you like to watch recaps like this. Thanks for watching.